The Time Monster is a story that seems to get quite a bad rap, but I have to be honest, I quite enjoyed this one. Now, don't get me wrong, it's far from perfect, but I had fun watching it, and I legitimately enjoyed myself in spite of its flaws.
Welcome to your new master!
This story is interesting because it does ultimately feel like two different episodes mashed together. Firstly, this is an episode just about messing with time. It just does a bunch of weird and fun stuff that messes with time, and ultimately, it doesn't entirely necessarily make sense, but it has fun doing it. At one point, we see a TARDIS inside of another TARDIS, which is something I don't think I've ever seen before in Doctor Who, although I could be forgetting about an episode.
My TARDIS is inside the Master's.
Yes, but his is inside yours.
Exactly, they're both inside each other. Yeah, I should have suspected that.
Well, what are we going to do now?
3 guesses.
I wonder. Wait.
Right first time.
And while there's fun to be had in messing with time and space, there's not a lot of substance to that story. It's just fun without really having much of a purpose. And the second episode is a minor spoiler if you don't know the main location towards the end of the story. This is a very mild spoiler warning. So the other episode it's being mashed with is a really out there story where they go to Atlantis because why not? We get glimpses of it as early as episode 2, but we don't actually go there until much later in the serial.
Holiness! Come quickly! The crystal is afire!
And that's a kind of crazy and cool out there thing to do. Everybody goes to Atlantis because the Master is trying to summon Kronos, because why wouldn't he be?
Kronos, welcome!
It's really out there, but it doesn't have as much fun with itself or really revel in the outlandishness the way that the Daemons does, and that's why it's not as good as that story. It has fun, but it's just not as much fun. And these two ideas don't completely work together. Sure, they're fun, they're out there, and they don't care too much about following the rules, but they don't go together that well either, and they feel distinctly separate, and as a result, this story can come across quite disjointed at times. So the pacing and the balance doesn't completely work. In fact, there's a whole episode, I think it's maybe 4 or 3, where at the end of it, I realized they didn't need to take up more than 5 minutes of time to tell the actual story it was telling, because very little of consequence or importance actually happened within that episode, even though I enjoyed myself watching it.
What can I do for you, Doctor? Or is your visit purely social?
I thought we might have a little chat.
What an excellent idea. I take it you have something to say to me before I destroy you?
Yes, I most certainly have.
Just get it over with.
And that's the main thing about this story as a whole. It's fun, it's enjoyable, I certainly don't mind watching it, but it doesn't leave much of a lasting impression. It really doesn't hold up when you take much of a look at it. It's got plenty of things that just don't totally work or make sense, and I'm honestly kind of okay with that because I had fun. And although I have my criticisms of the serial, I did enjoy it, and one of the best things about it was our main cast, particularly the Doctor and Jo. They just have really solid chemistry, which is kind of amazing to me because that wasn't really a thing in Season 8. But in this season, those two characters felt much more like friends and had a good dynamic together, possibly better chemistry than Liz Shaw and the Doctor, but I'm not ready to say that definitively.
Now, yes, here we are. New eruptions in the Thera group of islands, somewhere off Greece.
Does it say anything about a crystal?
Crystal? No, what crystal? Look, I know I'm exceedingly dim, but would you mind explaining?
Also, Roger Delgado is great as always. I do like what he gets up to in this one, and while it does feel a bit like this is just another unsuccessful attempt from the master.
Good afternoon. Now, where have I seen that face before? Can't think of anything to say.
How about curses foiled again?
It still works on some level because the man is just so good in the part. Overall, this one was enjoyable. It had its issues and it's far from Pertwee's best serial, but there is entertainment to be had here, even though the story doesn't always have the best idea of what it's trying to be. So yeah, I found this to be an enjoyable finale, and I'm going to give The Time Monster a rating of 7.25 out of 10. So feel free to leave your thoughts on The Time Monster down below. I have a feeling there are definitely going to be some people that do not like this one, but you know what? I enjoy it. And I hope to see you around this upcoming Sunday for my review/overview of Doctor Who Season 9 on the whole, where we really discuss that and go over it. And if I don't see you there, then that is absolutely fine, so long as you know that I appreciate your time here today. And with all of that said, thank you very much for watching, take care, and have a lovely week.